A lot of people are getting caught up in the excitement of all this volatility right now, but I need to bring something crucial to your attention, because it could mean that a lot of those people are going to get very much blindsided by what's about to happen in this market. So the deal is we're trending lower. We're in a bearish trend, right? Everyone's bearish right now. The fear and greed index today reading at 16, yesterday 18. We're in extremely fearful territory right now. Everybody wants to be bearish and it's fashionable, and you know what? That's fine, because this trend is really weak. So a lot of people want to be contrarians all the time. It's important to be a contrarian so that you're not agreeing with the 90% of people, but at the end of the day, there is a time and a place. And if you're a contrarian all of the time with no exceptions, you're never ever going to make money on moves like this, and more likely you're going to lose a lot of money on moves like this. So there is a time and a place, and you need to be able to strike that balance, because right now I think a lot of people are missing the fact that Bitcoin right here is potentially in a little bit of a rising wedge pattern. Take a look at this right here. Bitcoin quite confidently setting a low right here. I was just watching it happen actually, and was expecting Bitcoin to be able to reverse back up to potentially challenge some of these higher levels. And I think that would make a lot of sense, because if we look at Bitcoin on this other chart right here, the key area that I've been talking about for quite a long time has been that $53,000 level, right, ranging all the way up here as the key level of resistance for Bitcoin. A lot of people are expecting that, and the key thing to keep in mind right now, ladies and gents, is that when absolutely everybody is trading one direction of the trend, that's where we go, and we go there very quickly. See, that's the kind of thing that we're seeing when the market is rallying up from, for example, $43,000 all the way up to $47,000 in just the space of 4 hours. You can only get that kind of price action when nobody wants to sell and absolutely everybody is buying. And so the key thing to keep in mind right now, I think, is that there's going to be quite a lot of selling pressure if Bitcoin manages to rise back up to this level. But if we do get up to that level with all of that selling pressure, I don't think that there's going to be enough buying pressure to sustain it. And obviously that's going to mean that we're going to have another issue of supply and demand, and we could be looking at dropping down. And the key thing that I think a lot of people are missing right now, again, is just that everyone's expecting Bitcoin to very rapidly be trending downwards, and that can definitely still happen. I'm not ruling it out, but what I think would also be something that shouldn't take you by surprise is that Bitcoin does some sort of reaction rally to the upside to rally back up and keep its price levels. One of the key things I was mentioning on this YouTube channel just on the day of the dump even, I was live streaming it, was that I think Bitcoin had a time window where it had an opportunity to reverse back up and recover the key levels of support that it lost. But I told you guys on that live stream that if Bitcoin doesn't manage to get that bounce quickly, it's probably not going to get it. It's probably only going to get rejected if it elapses, for example, a 48-hour time window. If you're already subscribed to the YouTube channel, you'd know all about that. So do me a favor and smash up the like button, smash up the subscribe button if you are finding these videos useful. This channel is at the moment just blowing up for the first time in a while. So thank you all for all of the support. I really do appreciate that, and I'm going to keep delivering amazing content to you guys, really trying to challenge your perspectives so that we can be the best possible traders and analysts that we can be in this space. That's always my objective. The key thing I was talking about was that you're in an area of very high volatility when you get a big dump like this, and so that's immediately why in areas of high volatility you can whiplash upwards like a rubber band. You just absolutely just catapult higher when you see a little bit of a drop like this. That's what tends to happen in areas of high volatility. But we got that catapult, and it didn't really take us so far, and clearly we've now lost some volatility. And so to me, that indicates we might be shifting into a slightly longer term pattern right now, which again is why I'm looking at this rising wedge formation. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly this, but it just looks very probable that that is the case right now. And obviously we're gonna invalidate this within just a matter of hours if we invalidate it at all, right? So this isn't something that I'm going to hold myself to, but at the end of the day, we are just seeing the price pretty much just kind of fluctuate sideways inside of a pre-existing bearish trend. And again, if we look at where the resistance is right here, one of the key indicators I brought to your attention just yesterday was the 1 hour Ichimoku cloud, and already we're getting our first rejection off there, exactly as predicted. I was already in a profitable short position All VIP members knew about it as well. Go ahead and follow these steps on screen if you want to jump inside. We're right now running a huge sale. It's not as much as the Black Friday discount, but you are getting 50% off if you want to join ForFly's VIP right now. We are slaying the markets. The analysis has been completely on point. You guys know exactly what the deal is, and the only way you can join is by clicking on the first link in the description down below, and then the @ForFlies button, and then send message to ask me how to join ForFlies VIP if you want to be able to take advantage of that huge half price discount right there. And obviously coming in at a very nice time, because yeah, like I said right here, Ichimoku resistance on the 1 hour kind of towering at the $49,000 level, and it's just getting wider, which means that if Bitcoin continues to spend a lot of time here, it might run out of whatever buying pressure is keeping it up right now, because obviously the whole markets across the world aren't really in a good state. And I want to take a quick detour to take a look at that right now, because if you look at the dollar, for example, on this index, now this is something I was warning you guys about a while back, but I don't talk about it often because I'm not an economist. But just for you guys to keep in mind, if you are not already regularly watching this channel, you're gonna miss snippets like this where I covered the dollar and told you guys why we could be kind of getting ready to blow up. And just rise and gain a lot of value against other currencies. It's only a currency index, so it's not necessarily saying that the dollar is strong, it's just saying it's stronger than other currencies. But that's quite key analysis, so obviously just make sure that you don't miss it. Also, others like Crypto Kirby have been talking about this for quite a long time, and he is another analyst that if you like me, you're gonna like his channel as well, so go ahead and check it out. But the key point is that there was a lot of resistance I was seeing for the dollar on this index, just around the probably 93.7 up to 95 level, and we're now a full percentage point above that. And I know these numbers and stuff might not sound too big to you, but we are talking about the US dollar, so this is about as important as any currency can get in the world. And to see that it's broken resistance and is rallying higher, I think is a big warning shot fired, to quote Crypto Kirby. Again, definitely check out his YouTube channel if you do find these videos useful. I've learned a lot from him over the years, so he's pretty good. And then moving back to the indices markets as well, just to show you that this isn't just something that we're seeing in Bitcoin, right? When the dollar rises, typically indices like the S&P 500, indices like the UK 100, Germany's DAX, JP225, I think these indices, these collections of companies, stock markets just in general, will perform weak. In a weaker way. So will Bitcoin, right? Because generally what's happening when a dollar starts gaining value is people are going back to that currency and out of their speculative investments, because a lot of the time people are only taking speculative investments like entering the stock market for 10 to 15 years in order to beat inflation and make a little bit of profit on top of that. And so you're going to have less of a need to do that if the dollar is actually strong, because then you don't need to beat inflation. And so that's why we tend to see at times like this, when the dollar is being strong, these markets getting a little bit of a sell-off. But I don't think, obviously a lot of people are going to be worried about this right now, the people who regularly look at these markets, but these indices even, but this is a 5% pullback. I know it's a big deal, don't get me wrong, this is a really, really big deal for the S&P 500, but it's not something that it's never been able to recover from before. The S&P 500 right here had a huge dip of fucking hell, 35% back in March 2020, and it recovered that pretty well, and obviously I'm not saying that this is healthy at all. I'm just as pessimistic about this whole market state as the next realist in this space, but at the end of the day, right now, technically, it's just not done anything absolutely crazy yet. And what I'm looking to see is you see, the problem with people saying that markets like this are going to enter big bear markets is that they think that they're really right about it. And the way these markets generally actually tend to top out, and when you see the huge catastrophic sell-offs, that's going to happen when it starts looking like it can't be possible for a crash to happen. Right now, a lot of people are saying that a crash has to happen. I want that to change, and the only way that changes is if there's enough instances where that person is proven wrong. So, for example, if you were bearish on Bitcoin, back in 2017, you would have had a lot of chances to be bearish on the market and be wrong. Take a look at this, right? So if you're watching the run up, let's say 2017 starts right here, you would say this is a pretty crazy run up, but this is where it really is becoming too much, because Bitcoin really broke above the previous all-time high from 2013 only in March. and then by June it already tripled, right? So you could say this is a little bit too crazy already, and the market needs to correct, and then it, kind of goes into a bear market, but then you're proven wrong because the price goes back up, so you start believing Bitcoin a bit more, and then it dips, but it recovers it, so you believe in Bitcoin even more, and then it dips and it recovers it, so you believe in Bitcoin even more, and then it dips and it almost recovers it, and you're believing in Bitcoin quite a lot that it's not going to be able to drop back down. And then, of course, that's what happens. So it's only when the naysayers, the pessimists, become optimists, when they start buying the lie, when they start believing the lie, that we start getting these big market tops, in my experience. And obviously my experience is not, super big. I've only been in the crypto markets for 5 years, 4.5 years, something like that. But that's a pretty long time in crypto, right? These markets move really quickly, and obviously I've studied the markets previously, and from what I've seen, that's how major markets end up crashing. And that's why when we saw the big crash, not this one right here, but I think it was this crash right here where everybody was calling it a bear market. This one was especially bad. I was here on this YouTube channel telling you guys around about here that I'm not worried about it. I did change my opinion right at the bottom, and I started being worried, so that's an example of how I'm not always right. But on this YouTube channel, I was telling you guys about how actually I don't think that this is concerning because everybody's too bearish, and then it kept rallying higher. So, very important psychological points to be keeping in mind right now, where we need to be able to distance ourselves from these ideas in order to analyze them safely. But moving back to the Bitcoin price right here, like I said, being in a little bit of a short-term uptrend to fool people, to give them a little bit of relief as we approach these resistance levels right now, looks really, really likely to me. I've shown you the resistance on the 1 hour time frame with the Ichimoku cloud, but what I also want to do is show you where some of the momentum is in this market. Now on the 1 hour time frame, it's quite tight, but we are getting resistance from here already as well, so that's something to keep in mind. That could potentially act on the market. 1 hour resistance isn't typically such a big deal in my experience, but still something to keep in mind. 4 hour is going to be the bigger problem for Bitcoin. I'm seeing this as a bigger area of resistance, and this is kind of all the way down to the mid $50,000 area just now. So, if Bitcoin pumps up by basically $1,500, it's going to be hitting that resistance. And obviously, that can also happen slowly, trending up in a rising wedge. So, please keep this in mind as Bitcoin rises higher. I know that people are going to start trying to become a little bit more bullish again and thinking that we've recovered a lot of, what we lost. But realistically, like just looking at the technical indicators, this isn't me being bloody Satan or something. It's just telling you guys what the facts are. There is going to be resistance right there, and the 4 hour Ichimoku cloud really shows us that. We even have 1 day Ichimoku cloud, 1 day EMA ribbon resistance up ahead as well. It's much higher, it's all the way up at 56,000, but I think this is just an illustration of how Bitcoin has a really long way to go, even if it starts performing well right now. Like Bitcoin has a lot of resistance up ahead. It's got to clear the 53, 54K range. It's got to clear 56. It's got to clear 50. It's got to clear the previous all-time high. It's the same stuff that I was telling you guys about before. Just take a look at this chart. I was mentioning that, guys, as soon as we lose key levels like this, I was warning you that we're going to have to hit them as resistance, and usually we get rejected at resistance, as much as it sucks to say. I know a lot of people on these two green candles were getting really excited, and now when you put it into perspective, you feel like a bit of an idiot if you weren't paying attention to just page 1 of any technical analysis book. When you drop below a support level, which is what it was, it becomes resistance. And it's one thing to watch this stuff happen in the real-time market, and it's another thing to read it in a book. But when you look at it with hindsight with me on this YouTube channel, you're going to start to see that actually this game isn't too hard. You just have to look for the areas of support and resistance and anticipate that resistance is where rejections happen and support is where bounces happen. Like this range right here, which we also predicted on the YouTube channel as being a bounce zone because it was a bounce zone previously. Because this area, if we trace it back, had already acted as support for Bitcoin historically, so I was telling you that it could be support for Bitcoin. Again, this stuff is not rocket science. We just try and keep it super simple so that we don't confuse ourselves and then put money behind calculated risks. That's it. That's the game of trading. It's nothing crazy like, you put your money in some shit coin like Shiba and then it rallies up to $1 million and you become rich and you finally get your ex-wife back. Like, that's not how this game works. You can you can pull it off, yeah, but you can also buy a lottery ticket at that point. I mean, you know, you're not really doing anything that has odds weighted in your favor when you do something like buying a shitcoin. You're just hoping that the next person is more stupid than you. So it's one of those situations where kind of seeking a bit more skill can be very beneficial and doesn't have to be difficult. That's my point. You know, a lot of people, their own enemy, their main enemy in trading is themselves, and that, you know, the good thing about that is it means like if it's just you and your mental psyche that's the problem, well then you can fix that overnight. You know, like if you had a bigger problem, like if a bridge fell down and you had to repair the bridge, right? That's a problem that's going to take you a lot of time to solve. But if it's just being an idiot or not applying the right principles in your mind, you can just decide, okay, I'm going to do this properly now, and then you'll be fine. And it sounds so obvious to say out loud, but that's exactly the path that I took when I went from a terrible trader to who I am now. I just decided to stop ignoring to start ignoring the BS in my head. I decided to only commit to ideas that I was absolutely sure, like truly absolutely sure of. I decided to only always exercise perfect risk management, not trading with too much money, just doing all the stuff I knew I should have been doing already, and that's where this stuff turned around. Obviously, that's a very painful process to go through. We're in a very volatile market right now. This is the time to make money. I'm in a beautiful position right now, already making profits on this market, and VIPs know the rest of my plan. If you want to jump inside and see exactly what's going on behind those closed doors, then like I said, it is minus 50% off half price right now. So get inside if you haven't done so already by clicking on the first link in the description down below. Then clicking on the @4flies button at the bottom of any post inside of 4flies Gold, and then clicking on send message to ask me how to join 4flies VIP. Take a look at some of the amazing testimonials we've gotten right here. This person in a small 13%, no, I can't read that, something percent profit. Pretty cool. Shouldn't have picked that screenshot. Here's another small one here, just a normal 20%. But then here's a more thought out message. This person commenting on the 4flies Academy course that he had access to as part of joining 4flies VIP, where I teach you all about trading, everything I know, and analysis from A to Z. So you could have never been in the crypto space before and picked it up, and you would do completely fine. And we've had people like that. This guy right here, who became a millionaire inside of 4flies VIP, started off with $30,000, and he had never traded before. He's a businessman that runs a bunch of businesses around the world, pretty busy in that sense, mentally at least, but was able to pull it off. And he didn't even have access to the things that our yearly members have access to now, like for example phone calls with me and stuff like that. That's before we even introduced that stuff. So a lot of cool stuff going on right here. This person making his first ever trade at over 300% profit, paying off his entry fee. Of course, these are not typical results. Not everyone's getting results like this, but it does show you what's possible. These are not special people. They just put in a lot of effort. So if you are interested in all that stuff, then these are the steps on screen. And of course, if you're looking for a place to trade, you guys know the deal. Bybit, sign up, link down below, make your first deposit, get some free cash. It takes like 5 minutes. It's easy to get some free cash. Check it out. It's the only exchange that I use. And then just to summarize the Bitcoin analysis once more, I think a lot of people are going to be expecting sharp moves to the downside, but I want to start seeing how much Bitcoin can scrape the upside at the moment, because it's going to have a huge problem as it approaches those levels, in my opinion. And I think that we could be seeing the rest of these markets dip a little bit. Now is also the time where, previously I was looking at the altcoin market quite closely. Look at Cardano against Bitcoin right now. It's at, not even yearly lows. It's at extremely low lows right now against Bitcoin. The altcoin market just generally not doing very well at all. This is where you buy, this is not where I'm not your financial advisor, but this is where you would generally expect to see good entry levels in a market like this. And that's why I think that this is worth bringing to your attention now. Because they've definitely started looking very attractive, and I do plan on picking up some coins as well. Of course, I'll keep that stuff inside of 4flies VIP, so those of you guys in will know all about that. Anyway, I really hope you have enjoyed this one, and if you have, you know exactly what to do. likes, subscribe, tick the bell. Thank you for all of the support on the YouTube channel lately. Hopefully you are really enjoying all this content that I'm bringing to you. Today, probably going to put out a couple more videos, so look out for those as well. If you are subscribed already, you don't have to worry about it, but make sure you've already got the bell ticked as well, so that you get notified about them, because obviously these are very time sensitive videos. Alright guys, see you all in the next one. Bye bye.